Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's Kyle here from SpeedBets, bringing you guys in super early UFC breakdown, a little preview into the new year. We still have a couple more weeks, I think 2 or 3 weeks even before this card takes place. I don't care, I'm doing a breakdown. I'm just getting over being sick. You can probably tell my voice is still kind of fucked, so I'm sorry about that. I'm going to do an official picks video where I give like my exact method of victory and all that fun stuff, like the week of the fights. I just have a lot of energy right now, slammed a fucking energy drink. We're locked in, it's like 9 p.m. Don't got to go to bed for a few hours, so we're going to crank out a few of these. I've been doing some tape on these guys in my free time. I've kind of looked ahead to some of the cards that are coming up too. So I'm going to do UFC 311 and all that stuff coming up as well. So let's get right into it here. Dern versus Ribas 2. This video is not going to be too structured at all. It's going to be more or less kind of just a yap fest the whole time. We're going to get through the card though. It's going to be good. I'll give you guys some good shit, some knowledge. We'll see what we have to go with here. We have Fatima Klein taking on Victoria Dudikova. Now, Fatima Klein called it in her first fight. I told everyone, fade her. She opened as a huge dog, and then the public bet her like crazy. They thought she was the next Blanchfield. And she got steamed to like a minus 200 favorite for a little bit. Like, what? So in the Discord, I was telling everyone, hop on Jasmine at plus 140. We got her. You're getting me Jasmine Jasuda Vicious against a short notice 1 week debut at Elevation, and you're giving me plus 140? Ridiculous. That was on that Tracy Cortez Rose Namajunas card. I actually picked that card crazy well. I gave out in a fucking video for free. I mentioned Charles Johnson round 3 knockout over Josh Van plus 3,300 prop. Sprinkle on that. $5 paid out over 100, like 150 or something like that. Ridiculous. I saw some people trying to be clever and pick Tracy Cortez. Not a chance in fucking hell. I think I did make the mistake of picking Drew Dober over Gene Silva, but we won't talk about that one. I picked the rest of the card pretty damn well. Yeah, sorry, this is what I mean by this thing is going to be just a yap fest. Yeah, I picked Rose. Ponzinibbio got robbed. I picked Ponzinibbio, whatever. Picked Drew Dober. That was a bad one. I picked Bonfim by decision. That was super unpopular. Everyone was saying he was going to finish Lusa. Come on, guys. That was like a plus 400 prop. Gave that one. I was an official bet. Unfortunately, I picked Christian Rodriguez against Julian Erosa, Hall of Fame, bad bet. Fuck C-Rod, I hate that guy with all my heart. We're going to get to him a little bit later. Abdul Razak and Cody Brundage, yeah, whatever. Abdul Razak is a fucking bully. We'll get to that guy a little bit later, too. Like I said, Charles Johnson round 3 knockout, called that one to a T. Jasmine, we picked that one as when she was an underdog, which is crazy. Montel Jackson fucking slept Mont Blackshear. We got Luana Santos by sub, Petrosky by decision, and fucking the Elder fight was super last minute. So we did all right. I don't know why I just yapped on about that, just flexing the pick rate a little bit, doing what I can to show off to get you guys in the Discord here. Discord's absolutely free. It'll be the top link in the description. You want to come in, talk shit about some fights, do whatever you got to do. I give out free plays. We're doing hockey free plays, football free plays, basketball free plays, anything you can imagine. It's just a lot of fun in there, man. If you don't like it, you can leave. I'm not going to try and hold you in there or whatever. But if you want to join up, get some free plays, deliver it in the Discord, why not? Now, finally, done yapping. We're getting to the pick here. Sadly, it's going to be Fatima Klein. Victoria Dudikova just hasn't really done enough to make me think that she can replicate what Jasmine was able to do. And this fight is down at 115 pounds. Jasmine, obviously, a 125-pounder, a pretty big and strong 125er. And she was able to hold Klein down. I watched that fight back. I mean, there's little glimmers, like there's little tiny parts of fights where you think Victoria might be able to do something like that. But then you just kind of think to yourself, like, oh yeah, you lost to Sam Hughes. Well, you're not going to be shit in the promotion, you know? It's tough. It's really hard to pick her. I mean, Victoria Dudikova, she has a couple good wins. I'm not really going to call Jinyu Fry a good win. Estela Nunes is a decent win. Maria Silva is a good win. Yeah, she took the O of a pretty good fighter, Marina Silva, on that Contender Series. She's gone on to go 3-0 in KSW since then. Actually finishing one of those chicks, so it's not bad at all. That was actually a really good win. She started her career as more of a finisher, but then she kind of just fell into that decision role, which it is what it is. I don't think Fatima Klein's all that. I bet Fatima Klein's going to be a huge favorite. I think she is. She's like minus 400 or something. Ridiculous. If you're betting Fatima Klein at minus 400, you're out of your fucking mind. I think this fight's going to decision 100%. I think Dudikova can win one round, but I mean, she did get worked by Sam Hughes in that third round. She kind of gassed out pretty bad. So I'm going to pick Yeah, I mean, give me Klein by decision. It sucks, but that's what the pick is. I'm going to go with Dudikova plus 3.5 points whenever that prop drops. I think that's a pretty good look. I think she might be able to bring the wrestling pace a little bit earlier, but I don't think she's going to be strong enough to deal with Klein. Klein was kind of lighting Jasmine up on the feet a little bit with just some stinging shots, but that's more or less Jasmine just not knowing how to strike more than it is like Fatima being a good striker. I think Dudikova's going to hold her own in that regard, but I do think she's going to get Fatima down for like one round, maybe like the start of the second. After that, I think it's just going to be one-way traffic. She takes her down, she's probably going to get swept. And then Klein's going to like get back up, push her against the cage, hold her there. It's going to be a pretty boring fight. But I think Klein's going to do enough to edge it out. Do not bet her at -4 or 500, guys. She's not good. 0-1 in the promotion. Like, let's cool it a little bit here. Victoria Dudikova's not a can, but she's not great. Then the next one up here, we have Andreas Gustafsson coming from the Contender Series, taking on Preston Parson, who's been in the UFC for like a year and a half, 2 years maybe. It's actually been like 3 years. Sorry, I'm just seeing that wrong. Preston Parsons, this guy's just been like a total letdown his entire time in the UFC. I think his D-Rod, he got signed on short notice to fight. He was supposed to fight like Abubakar Nurmagomedov. That guy pulled out because he's a bitch. Fake wannabe Khabib. And then D-Rod needed an opponent. They signed Preston Parsons from like Combat Night Pro is where this guy was fighting for like all of his fights. Wild promotion. Don't know what's going on there. And then he gets knocked out in the first round. Whatever. Then he beats Evan Elder. Stripped the O of Evan Elder, which is crazy that guy ever even had an O. That guy's terrible. Then he loses to Trevin Giles. Beats Matthew Semmelsberger. And then loses to Oban Elliott. Like, you can't be losing to Trevin Giles, man. You can't be getting outpointed by Trevin Giles. Losing to Oban Elliott, that's all right. Oban Elliott's actually really good. All I ever think about him as, though, is like a Figlock victim. My boy Mikhail Figlock slept him on the regionals. Cage Warriors. You guys don't know about Michael Figlock in the Cage Warrior days, do you?
And there was a nice right hand there from Michael Figlock.
Yeah, Figlock definitely looking a lot more fresh in the third and final round.
Elliott trying the knee there.
You know, the speed that Oban Elliott had in that opening round, he looked very, very fast with the hands, looking significantly slower now.
Figlock looking for the finish.
But there's no shame in losing to Oban Elliott. That guy's on a tear. He just beat Basil Hafez by knockout in the third round. That was sick. But Preston Parsons, his biggest flaw, he's a grapple-first guy, but he's just kind of lost. If he can't get the takedowns, this guy looks lost on the feet. He looks like he doesn't really train striking. However, he is only 29. I think he's got a lot of room to improve. And Andreas Gustafsson, this guy's like a 33-year-old prospect. Let me see right here. Yeah. This guy, when this fight takes place, he'll be like a month away from turning 34. This guy's damn near a 34-year-old prospect coming into the UFC. Never fought in the UFC. He beat Pat Pietzlich. Of course you're going to fucking beat Pat Pietzlich, dude. You're fucking like -300 going into that fight. We picked him by knockout. We picked his fantasy score on like a prize pick slip for a Discord bet. I mean, he's like a super exciting guy. You look at his highlight. It's a sick highlight reel. I'm not going to lie to you, but I said the same thing when I was breaking down his Contender Series fight. I don't see too much there. I think if this guy fights a really good grappler, he's not going to be able to fend it off. Now, do I think Preston Parsons is going to be that guy? Well, I'm not exactly 100% certain on that. The fact that Gustafsson's like a -250 is a little crazy to me. I'm going to kind of see what Preston Parsons is looking like maybe the week of the fight. If I can get Preston Parsons at like +250, +275, if this continues to go, I'm going to take a stab. At the same time, if you're going to give me plus money on the Gustafsson knockout prop, I'm going to run with that. I think when Bovada drops their lines later in the week, you can look for one of those combo plays where it's like Parsons by decision or Gustafsson by knockout. Probably be juiced like -150, -160, but I think that's a pretty good look for the fight. I just don't really see it going any other way. Preston Parsons, he's tough, but he's not that tough. I mean, it was super short notice, albeit he did get knocked out by D-Rod. And then he hasn't really fought anyone else dangerous since then. Oban Elliott a little bit. But like going to decision against Semmelsberger, that guy can drop you, but he couldn't finish a fucking sandwich. Oban Elliott, he just kind of worked him. I'm not going to lie, there was nothing you were doing against Oban Elliott in that position. But yeah, I think my official call, it has to be Gustafsson by knockout. It's pretty square. I mean, he's -200, obviously. But I don't like calling that, but I think that's just how the fight's going to go. Preston Parsons has the opportunity to impress me here. I'm not going to bet on Gustafsson per se on the money line. Definitely not. I'd like to see Preston Parsons win. I'd like to see this fucking 34-year-old prospect get taken back to the regionals. Dana always says he's not looking for this. He doesn't want a 30-year-old prospect, but then he goes and signs this guy. Whatever, man. It is what it is. Praying Preston Parsons can pull through here, but I don't think that he's going to be able to grit through this one. Next fight up, we have Ernesta Caracate taking on Nicole Cagliari. I'm going to be 100% honest. I have not taken the time to really do the full tape on these. I'm going to give you my opinion on what I know, and then I'll break down the tape for the official breakdown in a couple weeks here. Ernesta Caracate, let me just put it how it is. She got in the UFC on a split decision over Carly Judas. It was like, debatably, you didn't even win that fight. And Carly Judas, don't even get me started on the Carly Judas rant. She starts her professional career, knocks out a 1-8 fighter, knocks out a 1-3 fighter, knocks out a 3-3 fighter. Signed her to the Contender Series. That was the easiest pick in my life, picking Ernesta, but she didn't make it easy. I was sweating that one out, and Ernesta was a big underdog there. Not really big, but like plus 160, plus 170, I believe. I mean, like, I've seen you fight for more than a round. I'm going to pick you to win a fight against a girl I've never seen fight for more than a round. That's how the Contender Series generally goes. And then Nicole Cagliari here, she's a finisher, but in a different way. She likes to get the fight to the ground, pressures forward, gets the takedowns, works on the ground. She's got some TKOs on the ground here. Lots of ground and pound, lots of submissions. She's got a neck crank from Mount Loss to Kay Hansen. Not a great look, but there's been worse looks out there, you know. Kay Hansen, she did go 1-3 in the UFC, but it's okay. It's okay. Everyone's got a bad loss like that. She lost to some Kay Hansen. She lost to some killers like Piera Rodriguez and Corey McKenna. Okay? If Corey McKenna's not a killer, I don't know what to tell you. So, yeah, basically Ernesta Caracate, she made her way to the Contender Series. She was supposed to fight Shavkat's sister, like Shavketa Rachmanova or something. Fucking, it's Sora Rachmanova. But just Shavkata sounded pretty funny to me. Ernesta Caracate, not the greatest fighter in the world. Like a longer, lankier striker, 5'9". She's going to be huge for this division. I don't know if there's an official height here. Yeah, okay, so it's going to be a 5'9" to 5'2". There's going to be a 7-inch height discrepancy here. Ernesta is going to want to keep this fight as far away as she can, keep that teep going. Cagliari is obviously going to be running and trying to get the takedowns. I think this might be one of those fights where the women fighter on her debut just can't implement her game plan. Like, Ernesta Caracate might just be okay enough to not let Nicole close the gap like that. Probably, if I had to put my money on anything, I'd hope to God she's been drilling cage takedown defense. Because Nicole's not like shooting open double legs, from what I've seen at least. So I'd like to think Ernesta can get this one done. I think she's a pretty big underdog, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, I just lied to your face. Ernesta is a huge favorite. That's crazy. They actually didn't favor the finisher. They favored the girl who arguably lost to Carly Judice. And then, oh my lord, lose to Dione Barboza. That's also not a good look. Guys, I'm struggling with this one. I'm going to bet Nicole probably inside the distance, decision, no action. I mean, that's going to be like minus 200. I think that's a look you got to take. I don't see Ernesta getting a finish here unless Nicole just death gasses. I'm just looking at the tapologies in the history. Have we ever seen Nicole go that far into a fight? The only one where she's ever seen round 3 is when Kay Hansen neck cranked her in Invicta. That was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, around there. So you can't look at that too much. She's probably improved since then. But she has been getting a lot of finishes, so it's something to watch out for. Give me Ernesta by decision, but Nicole, she's definitely going to be trying to get that takedown. I need to do a little bit more tape to see if I'm going to pick her to actually get that takedown. Maybe I'll just take an alternate approach. If Ernesta keeps growing as a favorite, Nicole's takedown line is probably going to be like 1 flat, like at 1.0. It'll probably be plus money for the over. I might just take a stab at that. I think that's the only path she's going to have here to victory. All right, in the next fight up here, we have Nurullo Aliev versus Yanala Shmuz. This line is getting out of hand fast. I just checked it again. Nurullo is sitting like a minus 450, pushing 500. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I got in on him at like minus 400. I sent out a bet in the Discord. But Yanala Shmuz, I mean, There's not much to say about this guy. I mentioned it in the last breakdown. Last time he fought, it was on that Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady card. Another card, which, by the way, I picked really well. The Yanal Ashmouz fight was the only fight on that whole card that I picked incorrectly. And if you guys remember, that was a card where only one singular underdog won. And it was Chris Padilla, and I picked Chris Padilla. Very proud of that pick. It was like plus 200 dog, plus 220, something like that. Whatevs, you know. But I tried picking Trevor Peek against this guy. Unfortunately, he just kind of showed a little bit of technique, and he beat Trevor Peek with the grappling, all the cage control, and all that stuff. Whatever. I mentioned it in that breakdown. The Yanal Ashmouz stuff. Like when you see headlines about this guy, I was doing research for him the first time because I kind of forgot about the Sam Patterson fight. It's never, you don't really see headlines talking about him knocking out Sam Patterson. You don't see headlines where they're talking about Yanal Ashmouz picking up a win or getting a win. The headlines are Yanal Ashmouz obliterates Sam Patterson. Yanal Ashmouz decimates Sam Patterson. Like, just these graphic ass words in front of it. And I mean, the knockout was bad, but it wasn't like, I don't know, I guess he did make Sam Patterson change weight classes, but I don't think that's going to be enough. I mean, Narulo, he's actually really talented in the wrestling, the grappling. You know, I don't think he's going to be able to hold zone. I think he is talented in the grappling as well. I don't think he's going to hold up to Narulo here. I think Narulo's going to be too much, too quick. He's going to get in on the takedowns, camp him in half guard, probably get some ground and pound going. You know, I mean, he just doesn't really do anything to the level in which you need to beat Aliev. I feel like the guy that beats Aliev is going to be someone, you have to have brick wall takedown defense, and you have to be a technical striker. I'm not too certain Yanal is either of those. I mean, let's see his grappling stats here. Takedown defense 60%. I'm sorry, buddy, 60% isn't going to cut it when you're going against this guy that looks like fucking Khabib. It just simply isn't going to be enough. So the line's a little out of hand. I got in on my minus 400. I do feel comfortable that he wins the fight. Should probably be around like minus 300. I think if you're betting him at 500, you're pushing your luck. But that's where I'm at in this fight. Yeah, this stat right here is pretty skewed. I mean, he took down Trevor Peek like fucking 10 times. In his other fights, he doesn't even land takedowns. I think he landed one against Sam Patterson, technically. And then he got taken down twice by Chris Duncan, out-grappled. If Chris Duncan's going to out-grapple you, I can trust Narulo to do the same. I mean, Chris Duncan, yeah, he just kind of ground and pounded him, did what he had to do there to get that decision win. But, yeah, I mean, give me Narulo. I've said that a million times now. I'm going to move on. I'm just yapping. Holy shit. Felipe Bunes, Jose Johnson. Jose Johnson is a bum. I can't believe people are picking Jose Johnson at the 2-to-1 price tag. I mean, there's some things that you guys need to learn about betting. I'm going to make a whole video for the new year. I think it's going to be called something along the lines of, so you want to be profitable at betting MMA? Or maybe how to be profitable betting MMA. Make it like a tutorial style so that people actually click on it and it gets views. Unlike my videos right now, they just get no views, get no traction. I like to think I'm presenting good information here. Obviously, this video is more just kind of talking just to talk. I'm going to get the official breakdown more in depth. I'm going to give you guys my actual kind of how I see the fight going, more or less so than like, I think Narulo is going to out-wrestle him because Chris Duncan did. Yeah, that's a pretty fair breakdown. I think that is how the fight's going to go, but I'm going to go a lot more in-depth in the actual breakdown the week of the fight. I've said that so many times. I'm just repeating myself. Holy shit, man, it's late. It's late, all right. Jose Johnson's a bum. He got twisted by Damon Blackshear. Embarrassing. Then he's like, you know what? I can't hang a bantamweight. Let me try 125. Let me try and weight bully down here. Yeah, guess what they give him? Asu Almabayev. Fuck you, buddy. You're cooked. This right here is just a battle of the mid. I mean, Jose Johnson, you see 16-9. Felipe Bunes, 13-7. Like, you know, I don't really know. I don't know that I'm really looking to trust those records here. It's just not a good. I mean, fucking Felipe Bunes is 1-3 in ACA. Who is this guy fighting in ACA? I'd like to take back my disrespect. He's fought some killers. Holy shit, this guy went through the ringer of undefeated Russians. I'm gonna lie, after a little bit of quick clicking here, I haven't like watched all these fights because obviously they're from fucking forever ago. I'm not gonna go watch 2019 film on Felipe Bunes 3 fucking weeks out in advance. Like, I know Felipe Bunes, I know how this guy fights, I know what he's about. I've watched his UFC fights, all that stuff. I mean, I'm saying UFC fights. He's got one, and it was a knockout loss to Josh Van. But I watched his recent fights going up into that fight to predict that fight. Jose Johnson, bum. Felipe Bunes, A little bit less of a bum than I thought. I mean, he's fighting some undefeated Russians over in ACA. It's going to happen. I don't think they're testing those guys over there. A couple of those guys that he lost to still haven't lost their O. I just don't think Jose Johnson's going to be able to do enough. I mean, I don't know. If this fight stays on the feet, Felipe Bunez is cooked. If he gets it to the ground, he's like in a little bit better of a spot, but Jose Johnson's kind of slick. I don't think Jose Johnson's going to be able to throw up a triangle like he was able to do against fucking Mo Miller. Or he's not going to sub him like it's Chad Anheliger. It's just Felipe Bunez, he's better than that. He's one of those shoot-to-box guys. He's going to try and cause chaos, but he is a 13-7 fighter. Like, let's not forget that here. This isn't a high-level fight by any means. I think the loser probably gets cut. Might be a little harsh, but I don't know. I just don't see this fight being ultra competitive. I think Jose Johnson can kind of work him on the feet. Asu Almabayev, he's like a different level of takedown artist, a different level of wrestler. Felipe Bunez, yeah, he's a good grappler, but he's not really a wrestler first. It's so hard to say because he was taking down Josh Van, obviously. He was taking down Josh Van. He won the first round against Josh Van, I think, if I'm remembering that fight correctly. I do believe he won the first round, but we've kind of seen anyone come in the first round against Josh Van. Like, that's the round he's willing to give up. So it's hard to pick, man. I mean, 60% takedown accuracy, but he averages less than one takedown a fight. I literally think if Jose Johnson ducks his head and takes down Felipe Bunez, he can just sit and guard and just camp him the whole fight. I mean, it's not going to happen. Jose Johnson is a 38% takedown defense, like you see. I think my big-ass head's covering the stats here, but you can see it right here. I mean, 38% takedown defense. This guy sucks. Again, though, you got to remember it's skewed. He fought Asu Almabayev. He took him down a million times. It is what it is. Jose Johnson is going to be my pick to get a decision here. I think this fight's going long either way. I'm not going to see a finish on either side. Over 2.5 is probably going to be like minus 250. I'd still parlay it, honestly. Yeah, maybe you can parlay that over 2.5 with Narulo Aliyev at minus 900 whenever that round prop drops. But on to the next fight here. We have Magomed Gadzhiesulov taking on Bruno Lopez. I'm pretty high on Magomed here. I think Gadzhiesulov's a good fighter. I think Bruno Lopez is not a good fighter. I'm very proud to say I faded him on the Contender Series against Ribeiro. I'm not going to pretend like there was a ton of education behind that pick. That was kind of when I was starting my like so-called capping career. Not really a career, just before I started betting on fights. On the Contender Series, I was just picking all the big underdogs and just putting some money on them. I'm still claiming it as a pick because I bet on Ribeiro against Bruno Lopez in the Contender Series, like 5-1 odds. I love to see that. And Magomed Gadzhiesulov, he just beat Brenton Ribeiro, dude. MMA match, chalk it up. We're done with this fight. Magomed's going to win. But in all reality, I do think he is going to win. Bruno Lopez, he's a half dangerous fighter. He just kind of always gets sucked into a firefight. He has grappling, but he doesn't use it. He isn't good. I'm just going to say that how it is. Bruno Lopez, he's more than happy to step into the pocket when he shouldn't. I think he's going to step in, wind up one of his big hooks. Magomed's going to run in, shoot a takedown, get the back, and just kind of hold him. I don't know if Bruno Lopez is going to get submitted. I think he's good enough to not get submitted in a spot like this. However, I can't really trust him to win the fight either. I think Magomed's a good value here. Around minus 150, if I'm not mistaken. These odds are taking off. He's minus 170 now. You want to get in on him, I'll give you that. I do have a money line bet on Magomed Gadzhiesulov over Bruno Lopez. I just think that it's going to be a dominant decision win. I could honestly see 30-27. Magomed's just a lot more well-rounded, more willing to use his well-roundedness to help him win fights. I was showed against Ribeiro. He's not going to get sucked into that firefight. Ribeiro is another guy who's more than happy to step into the center and bang it out. We kind of saw that against Kyle Machado. He just stood there eating overhands and throwing one back. Magomed didn't get sucked into that. He won the fight. He dragged him down over and over and over again. He's not afraid of making it boring. He's going to win this fight however he wants to. Next fight up, we have one that I'm excited for. We got Thiago Moises, Troy Ogden. Thiago Moises, this guy's like only 29, but he has literally fought everyone. Like, if you're a good fighter, you go through Thiago Moises to prove yourself. He's kind of like a gatekeeper type. Troy Ogden's just looking to cuddle. This guy wants nothing more than to lay on your back, reach his arm around your shoulder, and just spoon the shit out of you for a whole 15 minutes. If we're going on purely damage-based scoring, he should have lost his last fight to Loic Radzhabov. I'm just saying. I don't think he lost that fight. Obviously, he had like 15 fucking minutes of control time in a 15-minute fight. But it's like, dude, I don't know. He wasn't doing a single thing. He was just holding him. He had a couple submission attempts. I think he had like a head and arm, and he jumped off, and then he jumped back on. He didn't have it. He didn't like it. I mean, Trey Ogden, he's kind of like, as Lucas Tracy would say, he's got the beakers and the test tubes out. This guy's overcomplicating everything. He's going for like the most technical submission. He's not going to really change positions. If he even feels like he doesn't have a submission slightly, he's going to hop off and get back into position, always position for submission. Like, yeah, it's not the wrong mindset per se, but he's just not going to get a finish. I mean, he almost choked out Nicholas Mota, and that fight got stopped early. It is what it is. And this guy's not finishing shit. He had an actual competitive fight where he lost a decision to Jordan Levitt. What are you doing? Also, can I say how... Sorry, this might be rude to some people. Can I just say how crazy it is they're sending Jordan Levitt to go fight in Saudi Arabia? That's crazy. If you know who Jordan Levitt is, that's crazy. All right. Just a different way of life out there, I guess. Maybe he'll get stoned. Who knows? We got Thiago Moises. Like I said, let me just read you these losses. Ludovic Klein, Benoit Saint-Denis, Joel Alvarez, Islam Makhachev. Dude, he's fighting fucking killers. I mean, this guy, he lost to... Let's see here. Yeah, okay. He lost to the current champ, Joel Alvarez, who has a 100% finish rate. Literally 2 losses in his career, one of which is to Arman Sarukian, who was fighting for the belt. BSD, who was on his run at the time. I mean, BSD's got a couple losses. I think at this point his only loss was to Alessio Zaleski. And now BSD's lost, obviously, to like Poirier and Moicano. Might I just say it? Moicano might have fucking dismantled him in that first round. BSD only had one eye and he won the second round against Moicano. Just saying, we need to chill the hype on that. I'm going to get to that when I do my Moicano versus Dariush breakdown in depth, but I'm going to pump the brakes on Moicano a little bit. I know there's some lovers out there, but we're going to take a step back here. And then Thiago Moises, like I said, this guy is just fucking fighting everybody. He's only fighting good fighters. And then every time he takes a step down, he wins. And he wins in good fashion. He lost to Damir Magulov a while back. Damir is a good fighter. I'm going to stand on that. Damir only had 1 loss in his career up until that point. It was just some fucking bum in M1. Some jobber over there. But then he gets a step down. He gets Michael Johnson. He ankle locks him. Then he gets Bobby Green. Beat Bobby Green in a decision. That's a good fight. That's a good performance. Beat Alexander Hernandez. He made it to championship rounds with Islam Makhachev. Round 4 submission loss. He's got grit. No one's telling me this guy doesn't have grit. He knocked out Jamal Emmers on the regional scene in championship rounds as well. He's going to be there all 15. Trey Ogden can't hug this guy for 15 minutes and expect him to be tired afterwards. Then he gets Joel Alvarez on the come up. Okay, I thought that's a tough fight. We didn't really know a ton about Joel Alvarez at the time. I mean, that was 2021. Side note, Damir Magulov also beat Joel Alvarez in his debut. And then Joel Alvarez, he got a couple wins. He got like 3 or 4 wins. We didn't really know all what he was about. He got Thiago Moises, and then he beat that. But Alvarez did miss weight, so take to that what you will. We go back to Thiago Moises here. He gets a step down, okay? He gets Christos Siagos out in 1. Another step down. Mequazel Costa out in 2. Then he gets BSD. I'm standing on this hill. BSD is a good fighter. Is he top 5? No, probably not. Is he a good fighter? Abso-fucking-lutely. He got caught by some nasty hooks against BSD is all I'm going to say. He was cracking BSD back, though. He was testing BSD's chin a little bit. Thiago Moises is game. This guy's a game fighter. And then Mitch Ramirez, he just brutalized the legs of Mitch Ramirez. Poor Mitch Ramirez, man. I'm going to go on another just autistic side rant real quick. Mitch Ramirez had a very tough go of it, okay? This guy got a step up on the Contender Series. He got Carlos Prates. What are you going to do, man? Then he goes back to LFA, knocks out some jobber. He strips the O of this guy who has literally lost 3 fights since then. I'm just looking at the resume of this fucking jobber that Mitch Ramirez went back to beat. This guy literally got a go-go plot and win in his next fight. Whatever, man. Whatever it takes. He gets a win over that jobber, and then he gets back into the UFC on short notice, and he fights Thiago Moises, and he just gets a leg kicked, man. I gotta feel for Mitch Ramirez. He didn't really have a shot. I hope the UFC didn't cut him after that. I don't know if he has any fights coming up. I don't see one booked for him, but I hope he gets another fight against someone not so good. But I think I've spent enough time glazing Thiago Moises' resume. Let's get over to Trey Ogden. I mean, losing, like I said, to Jordan Levitt. Lost to Ignacio Baja-Mendez. Cannot blame him there. Beating Kurt Holobaugh. Not too impressive. I don't know. Kurt Holobaugh's not that good. I just think I haven't seen enough out of Trey Ogden. I feel like the way you beat Thiago Moises, you don't really beat him on the cards. You beat him by finishing him. And I don't think Trey Ogden can finish Thiago Moises. I think all the finishing equities on Moises. I think he's going to be the more dangerous fighter anywhere this fight goes, even on the grappling. And I just think Thiago Moises is going to do enough to win this fight. I'm going to pick him on the cards. Trey Ogden, you know, he has that grapple-heavy style. If he gets the control, maybe he squeaks out a decision. I just really don't think so. I think plus 3.5 is a decent bet. I don't doubt that he can get Thiago Moises down for 1 round. I just think Thiago is privy enough to not let that happen again. And for that reason, I'm going to pick Thiago Moises, moderate favorite. I'm holding off on a bet. I see a lot of people are picking Trey Ogden. I don't quite get why. I just really don't know. I guess Tapology, it's not as lopsided as I thought. I thought a lot more people were on Ogden. I've seen some people on Twitter talking about they're picking Trey Ogden. Yeah, Moises 76%. A lot of people are picking him by decision. Makes sense to me. People are picking Trey by decision. I feel like if Trey's going to get a win, it's got to be by submission, but I don't know. That's what we got for this fight. Give me Thiago Moises on the cards. Next fight up here. This is one that should not disappoint. We have Marco Tulio and Ihor Potieria. I'm about to go on a Hall of Fame rant when we get to the Cesar Almeida fight. Don't you worry. Cesar Almeida's a dirty fucking fighter. Ihor Potieria could have won that fight, okay? Now, hear me out, okay? Hear me out. I scored that fight 29-28 for Cesar Almeida. I thought Ihor, although getting outstruck, he did enough with the grappling to win one of those rounds. I'm forgetting offhand which round it was. I remember I scored it live and I wrote it down. Now, for me, Ihor Potieria, he's been a guy where I've always kind of thought that he's a little bit better than his record shows, but I've kind of come to the conclusion maybe he's not. I mean, his best win is against, like, Shogun Rua. It's like, be Robert Burchek, but I mean, who the fuck is Robert Burchek? Some random Polish prospect that hasn't even fought since? He was going to fight CLD, and then he pulled out against CLD, whatever. He was supposed to fight Malkoun. He pulled out against Malkoun, and then he's supposed to fight Duraev. He probably pulled out against Duraev, too. I mean, Burchek, he's just a guy that was undersized. He was like a 170. You're fighting at 185. He didn't want to make the cut. This guy got knocked out in the first round by Kike Brito. I think that's the level fighter we're talking about. He lost to Kike Brito in the first round by knockout. But like I said, I scored that last fight against Cesar Almeida, 29-28 for Almeida. Almeida clearly won the fight. However, he should have lost fucking 2 points. He should have lost at least 1. That fight should have bare minimum been a draw. He should have lost 2 points, dude. This guy was doing how many eye pokes are we going to give the man? And he's going to kick him in the balls a couple times, too. I mean, Cesar Almeida's doing everything in the books to fucking dismantle Ihor Potieria. I don't understand. What do we need to do to lose a point here? Back when Cameron Simon was on his point deduction streak, he would kick him in the balls once, hard warning, kick him in the balls again, that's a point. Cesar Almeida's doing everything he can to lose a point, and they're still not taking one from him. I don't know how hard they're trying to push that Pereira rematch, but you better hurry up, buddy. Pereira's going to retire. And then Marco Tulio, this guy's an interesting case. He beat Yusri Bagdad. He beat whoever the fuck Yosiri Bagalori. I just butchered this guy's name. He beat him on the Contender Series like 2 years ago. And it just wasn't enough. He got a decision. Dana wasn't impressed. Sent him back out to the regionals. And ever since then, this guy has been fighting like an absolute fucking psychopath. This guy is snorting lines before he goes out there to fight. I swear to God. This fight for me... This fight for me is so hard to pick because I don't know which version of Marco Tulio we're going to get. I don't know if we're going to get the pre-Contender Series Marco Tulio or if we're going to get the post, maybe a little backroom talk with Dana White type of fight. Because these last 2 fights, this guy has put caution to the wayside. He is throwing with ill intentions, okay? This guy is trying to fucking hurt people. Yeah, I know it's a fight. I know it's the UFC. Obviously, that's the goal. This guy is just throwing with some fucking mean intentions. I mean, he's winding up into every shot. Everything's like 150%. He's spamming wheel kicks. He's really trying to get like just a highlight reel knockout. I don't know. Like, buddy, if you just get like a really super clean performance, you can still get signed to the UFC. It doesn't need to be a highlight reel worthy knockout. But he spammed it. He got it. I'll give it to him. He was like minus 600 or 700 going into the fight. He got a round 3 knockout. It is what it is. But I can't trust him. If he's going to do that against Ihor Potieria, low-key Ihor Potieria is going to shoot a takedown, and he's going to get a takedown too. I think Marco Tulio, he's just got to kind of stay composed, defend the takedowns. Ihor is nothing on the feet. I mean, this guy was going flow state against Robert Burchek, trying to like shuffle side to side like he's prime O'Malley. Buddy, you're not O'Malley. I'm sorry. You just aren't that good. Burchak was just a standing fucking walking heavy bag. Marco Tulio, he should be the better fighter. I'm not going to trust a debuting fighter at these kind of odds. I mean, what do we got on this guy right now? He is looking like... All right, I'm just blind. I was looking at this screen for like 5 minutes. I mean, Marco Tulio's a 5-1 favorite, really? I don't think he's 5 times better than Ihor Potieria. Maybe like 200. Maybe minus 200 would be fair. Also, I just looked over. Fatima Klein's a minus 800 favorite. Wow. That is actually insane. If I can get Victoria Dudikova at plus 700, I mean, give me that shit all day long. I don't think the line's going to get that crazy, but holy shit, man. I mean, yeah, give me Marco Tulio, probably by knockout. Potieria, he's not good. I mean, he got knocked out by Rodolfo Bellato, knocked out against Alberg, knocked out against Nikolai Negumereanu. I mean, Michel Pereira kind of made him his bitch. Cesar Almeida, he was trying to get him out of there, doing whatever the fuck he could. I would have loved to see Ihor Potieria versus Shara. That fight unfortunately got canceled. So, this is what we got now. Sad as it is. Sad as it is, this is what we got. Give me Tulio by decision. Because I don't think he's going to find that knockout. He should. He really should, but I don't think he is. I think he's going to go back to his old ways. He's in the UFC. He can chill out. I think he's going to kind of counter Russell, and he's just going to put the hands on him for a full 15. All right, and then I kind of realized I considered splitting this video into 2 parts, to be honest, but I'm just going to keep it as one. I'm going to cut the yapping down to a minimum. We're just going to get more or less a little more straightforward here. I'm going to go on some side tangents, obviously. That's just how this video is going, so that's how it's going to keep going. Punahele Soriano taking on Uros Medic. Medic, I don't know how you say it. Might even call him Medic. Who gives a fuck, alright? Punahele could not finish a fucking sandwich. Uros Medic is pretty decent, man. He's pretty decent. He's pretty dangerous, is what I'm kind of getting at here. I think we learned in Punahele's last fight against Miguel Baeza, he's not dangerous. Now, for a little bit, I was kind of like, maybe Miguel just has like that Mexican chin, that super strong chin. And then you look back and it wasn't that long ago this guy was getting knocked out in the first round by Andre Fialho. And then I'm kind of like, well, I mean, Fialho used to be pretty dangerous, man. I mean, Fialho used to be pretty damn good. It's like, was he though? I mean, like 2022, he knocked out Cameron Van Camp and then Miguel Baeza. There's not that much, like, I don't know. It's so hard to say, man, because he went the full 15 with Michel Pereira. Knocked out Miguel Baeza, Cameron Van Camp, and then he got knocked out by Jake Matthews. Now, I don't know if you guys know anything about Jake Matthews. I think the guy sucks, okay? Andre Fialho is Jake Matthews' only knockout in the last 10 to 11... It is 11 years, wow. The only knockout in 11 years for Jake Matthews is Andre Fialho. That guy has no chin. Punahele couldn't put him out. He got put out by the guy who, yeah, he had a lot of knockouts at the time, a lot of TKOs. He wasn't dangerous at all. Punahele doesn't have shit. This guy's got pillows on his hands. I know people call him pillow fist. This guy literally has pillows strapped around his hands. I think Bilal hits harder than this guy pound for pound. Bilal Muhammad would have finished Punahele Soriano, and I stand on that. It's not just a skill difference. He would have, if in the same position, the same strikes, Bilal would have finished him. Okay, I think this fight's going to go pretty clearly for Medic by knockout here. I just don't think Punahele's got any chance, to be honest. I see a lot of people kind of like, oh, well, I mean, he looked so good. Miguel Baeza sucks. Miguel Baeza came into that fight as like a huge favorite, if I'm not mistaken. It was like a minus 200, minus 220. I mean, not crazy favorite, but still a pretty big favorite. I remember it was a pick'em for him to get a finish because that's how bad Punahele is. If we're looking at DFS props, it'll probably be a pick'em for Medic to get a finish. I love Medic to get a knockout here. I think this fight is... I don't want to call it a lock because I don't really fully trust Medic either. I mean, he got neck cranked by Oralby. How trash do you have to be to lose to Jalen Turner also by fucking rear naked choke? You got choked out by Jalen Turner, buddy. It's just, man. He doesn't even have that many fights. Neither of these guys have a lot of fights, but give me Medic. I think he's going to get Punahele out of there. Punahele is pretty trash. Actually, an affordable line on him, too. Minus 190 right now. I like that price a lot. Battle of the Unks, Santiago Ponzinibbio, Carlston Harris. Carlston Harris, he's going to want to get this fight down, get him against the cage, out-grapple him a little bit. Knocked out by Chaos Williams. Not a good look. Ponzinibbio, to all of his credit, the dude's tough. He's a dog. Knocked out by Kevin Holland, though. Now, when you're getting finished by Kevin Holland, you know your career is cooked, okay? There's no coming back from getting finished by Kevin Holland. Unless your name is Joaquin Buckley and it was like one of your first fights. I just, for a second, I looked at this matchup and I was like, oh shit, like Ponzinibbio, that's got to be a lock. He's got to be a big favorite. And then I look, he's an underdog. I'm trying to figure out why is he an underdog? What am I missing? I mean, it's just that. He's just too old. Carlston Harris, I mean, he's not a spring chicken. But he's a little bit younger. I mean, it's 37 versus 38. Like, what have you done recently? Chaos Williams slept Carlston Harris in the first round. Not a good look. Ponzinibbio, he arguably got robbed by Salikov. I remember I paid big chalk for him. He was like a minus 200 in that fight. I paid all 200 of that, and I fucking lost. I was pissed. And then, yeah, knocked out by Kevin Holland. He was losing to Alex Morono, lost to Michel Pereira, lost to Jeff Neal, lost to Miguel Baeza, who we were just talking about. Lost to Ling Jing Liang in the first round. Not a great look there. I'm trying to figure out why the fuck Neil Magny was fighting Ponzinibbio in a main event. I totally forgot that was a main event of a fight night. How far we've fallen. Johnny Walker versus Khalil Roundtree was on the fucking prelims, man. Holy shit. I love looking back at these old cards and you just see these guys that are like super successful now on the prelims of a mid-fight night between Ponzinibbio and Neil Magny. Like we got Pantoja on the prelims here. That is insane. We got Cheeto on the prelims. Yeah, Ian Heinisch is above Cheeto on the card, man. Darren Elkins is a co-main. But I do think Carlston Harris is going to be able to do enough to get this fight won. I think it's going to be very boring. He's going to take Ponzinibbio down. He's going to keep taking Ponzinibbio down, in my opinion. If you look at the grappling stats, 1.97 takedowns per fight. Not exactly what you want to see when I'm kind of calling for a pressure wrestling game plan, but it doesn't have to be pressure wrestling. I mean, against Jeremiah Wells, he was even getting dominated in the wrestling himself, 3 takedowns to 0, and then he latched up that anaconda. That was pretty sick. The Jared Gooden fight, he got 5 takedowns of his own, controlled that fight bell to bell. And then Shavkat, you know what? I almost forgot. I blame Carlston Harris for a lot of the Shavkat glaze. We really let Shavkat get away with people thinking he's an elite striker because he knocked out Carlston Harris on the feet. Can Ponzinibbio sleep this guy? I think maybe. I mean, when's the last time Ponzinibbio's getting a knockout, though, besides Alex Morono? I mean, we're talking back to the Neil Magny fight, like Gunnar Nelson, Neil Magny, Court McGee. I mean, he's a win over Sean Strickland from fucking forever ago. That's a funny one, but it's just not that likely in my opinion. I don't think Ponzinibbio is as dangerous as he was. Although Carlston Harris did just get chinned, so you got to kind of look back at that a little bit. All in all, I just don't think this is a fight you should be betting on. The pick's going to be Carlston Harris, but Ponzinibbio, he's game. He's game till the day he dies. He didn't get chinned by Salikov. Salikov's a slick striker. He did get taken down by Salikov, if I'm not mistaken. That's why I'm picking Carlston Harris to be able to get those takedowns. And I don't think the 66% takedown defense is going to be enough to stop him from losing this fight by decision. Next up, we have my old friend Christian Rodriguez taking on Austin Bashi. Now, if you're wondering why I kind of grinned when I said that, it's because I hate Christian Rodriguez. He's my least favorite fighter on the entire UFC roster. And I'm praying Austin Bashi latches up that rear naked choke and squeezes him until he can't breathe anymore. Obviously, I'm being dramatic. It's never that serious. This is not that deep. I do want Austin Bashi to win this fight, though. I like him as a prospect a lot more than C-Rod. C-Rod's kind of a blobby 135er that didn't feel like making weight ever, so the UFC forced him to move to 145. Guess what? Competition's a little stiff in the 145 division. He lost to Isaac Dalgieri, and I'm going to say it. You want to make a case for a draw? Sure, you can make a case for a draw, but guess what? Dalgieri didn't fucking lose that fight, man. Not a chance. He won the first and second. C-Rod didn't win the second. They gave him the second because he landed a knee on the chest as Isaac shot in, and it made a loud sound, but it didn't affect Isaac at all. He just kept on going forward. Whatever, man. Misses weight against Cameron Simon, takes his O. Misses weight against Raul Rosas Jr., takes his O. Missed weight on the fucking Contender Series to take on Tracy Cortez's brother, Reyes Cortez. You need to miss weight against fucking Reyes Cortez? I mean, Reyes Cortez, he was brought into the UFC to fucking lose to Peyton Talbot on the Contender Series. I mean, this is the guy we're talking about here. He lost twice in the Contender Series. I mean, he's now, where is he fighting over? And he's fighting in Fury FC, getting no contest eye pokes. The fall off is crazy. But I think Austin Bashi's smart enough. I've seen this guy go to distance 5 times. He has the cardio, okay? When we're getting these guys like Raul Rosas Jr., where all their fights are just super quick sub, we don't know if they can go the full 15. We found out Raul Rosas couldn't. In his first fight in the UFC, where he actually had to fight through adversity in that Christian Rodriguez fight, he gassed out. He was squeezing for dear life in that first round on that choke, and he gassed himself out hard. Now, C-Rod still isn't dangerous. He didn't finish Raul Rosas. Raul Rosas was a dead man walking, though. I think Austin Bashi has the brains, the IQ, and the cardio to make it a full 15 if he needs to. He's shown that multiple times. I think he's going to have no problem taking down C-Rod over and over and over. Austin Bashi is attempting 3.6 submissions per fight. This guy gets a position, he'll squeeze something. If he doesn't like it, he's on to the next. He's not going to sit there and burn himself out on a position that isn't there for him. He gets like a Dart setup, he might squeeze it for a minute. If you're not going to tap out, he's going to transition, he's going to take the back, he's going to sprawl out, do something. His stats are so heavily skewed. Okay, yeah, so the UFC website just averaged out his takedowns from the Contender Series, where he got 10 takedowns in a round and a half. And they averaged that out for a full 15-minute fight. I was when that 18 didn't look right, but yeah, I mean, this guy's nonstop pressure forward. He's going to take C-Rod down. I mean, Christian Rodriguez, he's been taken down more times than we can count. I mean, Dalgarian took him down 7 times. Raul Rosas took him down 3 times. Joshua Weems took him down twice. Jonathan Pierce took him down 6 times. Reyes Cortez even took him down twice. Julian Erosa took him down once and he got guillotined. I mean, Austin Bashi, when his takedown line drops in these DFS apps, hammer it. I think it should open around 2.5. Hammer it. If it's like 3.5, maybe you hesitate a little bit because C-Rod, he's decent. He might not get taken down 4 times. But I think 3's a very good bet. I think 2.5 is a great line for it. And I'm going to be looking to play that one myself. Give me Austin Bashi by decision. Next fight up, we have 2 dirty dogs going at it. Literally, these guys are both fucking cheaters. Abdul Razak just tried fucking killing Cody Brundage with back of the head strikes when he was on the ground. I see a lot of people that are like, oh, dude, Cody Brundage is looking for a way out. Dude, I'd be looking for a way out, too, if Abdul Razak, this big fucking brawlic Jamaican man, is elbowing the back of my head. I mean, then in the replay for the fight, like live, they showed it. They showed the sequence where Abdul wasn't hitting his head and not the sequence where he was. That caused a lot of people to give Cody Brundage some hate. I'm not going to hate Cody Brundage for that. I don't blame him one bit. Abdul Razak was battering the back of his head. Cesar Almeida's last fight, we already talked about it, it's Ihor Potieria. This guy's eye-poking, kicking the cup, everything you can imagine. This guy's doing it. I haven't watched the fight recently, but I'm guessing he threw on a cage grab too. I mean, fuck it, this guy's probably doing everything. So this fight right here, I think Cesar Almeida should go forward with the eye pokes. Abdul Razak should try and duck under the arm, hit him with like an Oshigari or something, get him on the ground, and start just beating the fuck out of the back of Cesar Almeida's head. Pound his skull in. I'd say throw 12 to 6 elbows. Those are legal now. He probably doesn't even fuck with those anymore. I mean, Abdul Razak, he hasn't done anything good in a while. He knocked out Claudio Ribeiro. I thought Abdul Razak won the Buckley fight, and then he knocked out Alessio De Cicero. That guy head kick knocked out Buckley in the first round. Just saying. Yeah, I mean, knocking out Claudio Ribeiro and Alessio De Cicero, not really anything too impressive. He knocked out Nico Price back a few years ago. That was decently impressive. Nico Price was still in his prime. He knocked out Sabah Hamzai, however the fuck you say that guy's name, twice in the span of, Jesus Christ, in the span of like a month. In the span of 2 months, he knocked this guy out twice, both in the first round. And that's kind of how Abdul Razak's fights go. He's either getting a round 1 knockout or he's losing a decision. Abdul Razak kind of likes to do the opposite of what he should do. So in this fight, Cesar Almeida should definitely be able to pick him apart from range, keep him at bay. Abdul Razak might fuck around and just win this fight by knockout in the first round. I think if you're betting Cesar Almeida, you should absolutely have an Abdul Razak Al Hassan money line or round 1 knockout to go with your money line for Cesar Almeida. I know on books like DraftKings they have something called a round 1 only money line. Abdul Razak Al Hassan will probably be like minus 600 for it, but you could put your fucking house on that. Basically, what that bet means is that if the fight doesn't end in the first round, you just get a refund. So if the fight extends, Cesar Almeida is probably going to win. It doesn't matter who wins the fight, even if you pick Abdul Razak round 1 for that bet. It doesn't matter if Cesar Almeida sleeps him in round 2, you get a full refund. So like I said, Abdul will be like a minus 600 for it, but I love that money line spot. I think Abdul is just so much more dangerous. Cesar Almeida doesn't really do shit in the cage. He's just kind of there to collect a paycheck. He's going to jab. He's going to throw a slight high kick. He's going to knock out a Dylan Budka, but who isn't going to knock out a Dylan Budka? Couldn't finish Potieria despite cheating the entire fight. Lost to Roman Kopylov, got Russell fucked. If Abdul Razak comes forward with the wrestling, I think he can absolutely get this done. I just can't really trust him to do that. I haven't seen him do that in a long time. Give me Cesar Almeida by decision, but I want it to be known that Abdul Razak is incredibly live in round 1. Next up, Chris Curtis, Roman Kopylov. This one I'm going to make a little bit quicker. I think this fight's pretty straightforward. I think Roman Kopylov is just going to pick apart Chris Curtis for 3 rounds straight. I don't think Chris Curtis has really got what it takes. He has very good defensive striking. Roman Kopylov is very good offensive striking. Slight height advantage for Roman Kopylov that helps him with his striking. He's shown recently, like we just talked about in the Cesar Almeida fight, to be able to incorporate some pretty mid-grappling, but he still gets it done. Chris Curtis, this guy don't do shit. I mean, he's got that Sean Strickland style. He's not going to shoot a takedown. He's not going to look to clinch. He's not going to look to do fucking anything besides sit in the pocket with that stupid little stance they do, and he's going to box you. He probably won't throw a kick. He's not going to throw leg kicks. He's just going to keep throwing the hands the whole fight. It worked against Brendan Allen. He was winning the Brendan Allen fight until his ACL imploded or something, and then he just fell down at the end of the 5th and lost the fight because of it. I mean, he does land a crazy amount. Like I said, his hands are nice. 5.76 significant strikes landed per second. Or per minute, sorry. Per second would be insane. Per minute. But Roman Kopylov, he's no slouch there. And Chris Curtis is absorbing 6 strikes per minute. He gets hit, dude. His striking defense is not as good as a guy like Sean Strickland. He's kind of an off-brand Sean Strickland type thing here. And I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, Kopylov is just hitting slightly less, getting hit a lot less. I mean, I'm kind of drawing comparisons. It's like 4-4 to 6-6. It's not really too crazy here. But Roman Kopylov is much more likely to mix in the grappling. His takedown defense is better than Chris Curtis, which is his takedown defense, I think, got ruined by Brendan Allen. I mean, that was a 5-round fight. He got taken down many times. He didn't get subbed, though. Chris Curtis is kind of a G. But Roman Kopylov, like I said, he's shown that he can mix in the takedowns. He makes it interesting. And I just think he's going to kind of be able to do whatever he wants here to Chris Curtis. Give me Roman Kopylov by decision. Main event time, I'm going to keep this one incredibly short. These two fought however many years ago, and I don't think shit's changed. Dern isn't good. She doesn't improve. Never has, never will. Ribas is improving, and she's got a crazy win rate at strawweight. Sorry, guys, I don't really know what happened there. Just going back to edit this, and the whole video corrupted right after that. I'm thankful it happened at the very last fight, not like halfway through it. But basically what I was saying is Amanda Ribas, a very underrated strawweight resume. I have all of her fights kind of opened up here, all of her strawweight fights. Obviously knocked out Luana Pinheiro, very impressive. Laid that one on her. Then we come down, she's doing a bunch of 125 stints here. And then we go to the Verna Jandiroba, very impressive win. I think she's going to beat Verna, or she beat Verna in a very similar way that she can beat Dern again. Lost to Marina Rodriguez. Marina Rodriguez is actually pretty good, despite a lot of people thinking she's ass. I think Marina Rodriguez is a pretty good fighter. Paige Van Zandt, we don't even need to talk about that one. Then Randa Marcos, there's the Mackenzie Dern fight, 2019. Emily Whitmire. And I mean, it's just not, you can't really look too much into these fights down here. Like, what is Emily Whitmire doing now? Oh, 4-5, hasn't won a fight since. Holy fucking canceled fights. Jesus. Get me out of here. All right. But basically, yeah, I think Amanda Ribas, since the Dern fight the first time, she's kind of rounded out her striking a little bit. Defensive grappling, still very good. In that Rose fight, she didn't look the greatest, but it's a Rose fight. You're never going to look good in a Rose fight because it's boring. She held her own for a little bit, though. I think the wrestling, the judo throws and everything, although she got reversed a couple times, I think she looked pretty good in that department. I think it's going to be like the first fight. She's not really going to be in danger on the ground. What is Dern going to do? Fucking omoplata her? I just don't think so. I don't know what Mackenzie Dern's going to do. She doesn't have the hand. She doesn't have the wrestling. I think unless Amanda Ribas drops Dern and then dolphin dives into a triangle choke, I just don't see Dern winning this fight. So give me Amanda Ribas on the cards. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed this super early breakdown, let me know. Let me know if you think my picks are shit in the comments. Join the Discord. Top link in the description. Absolutely free. We'll talk about some fights. We'll talk about everything related to the UFC, MMA, NBA, NHL, NFL, every sport, man. We're covering every single sport. We're crushing it right now. And hopefully, by the end of this week, I can be over whatever illness I have right now so I can be back to like daily uploads or every other day uploads. I miss this shit, but it's just so hard when I can't even talk for an extended period of time without being out of breath and all this shit, so yeah, just come on, join the Discord, absolutely free, and hope to see you guys in the next video. We'll give out some more free picks, man. Peace out.